He paid her to pretend to be his wife.
Just for one weekend. Just to fool his family.
He did not know one thing. The woman he hired to lie was the real heir to the company his family was trying to steal. Nobody in that house knew who she really was.
Not even him.
By the end of that weekend, one of them would kneel.
And it would not be her.
He paid her to pretend to be his wife. Just for one weekend. Just to fool his family. He did not know one thing. The woman he hired to lie was the real heir to the company his family was trying to steal. Nobody in that house knew who she really was. Not even him. By the end of that weekend, one of them would kneel. And it would not be her. The rain fell hard over Lagos that night. Amara stood outside a small restaurant, counting coins in her palm. Not enough for a plate of rice. Not enough for a bus ride home. She worked 3 jobs. Cleaning offices at dawn. Selling phone accessories by the roadside at noon. Waiting tables at night. Nobody asked her story. Nobody cared. 3 years ago, her father died. 2 weeks after that, her family's company was taken from her by lawyers, papers, and men in expensive suits who smiled while they destroyed her life. They told her the company never belonged to her. They told her to disappear quietly. She had no money to fight them. So she disappeared. Now she was just a waitress named Amara. Nobody special. Nobody rich. Nobody who mattered. That was what she believed. She did not know a folder was sitting in a lawyer's office, waiting. A folder with her name on it. A folder that would change everything. But tonight, she only knew hunger, rain, and tiredness. That was the night Kelvin found her. Kelvin Adeyemi sat alone in his car outside the restaurant, watching the rain hit the windshield. His phone buzzed again. His mother. Again. Kelvin, the family is gathering this weekend. You will bring a wife. No more excuses. No more shame. He dropped the phone on the seat and rubbed his face. Kelvin was not what his family believed. To them, he was the failed son. The one who walked away from the family business. The one who chose to build his own small logistics company from nothing, quietly, without asking anyone for help. What they did not know was that his small company was no longer small. It had grown, silently, powerfully, without his family's knowledge. He kept it hidden on purpose. He wanted respect earned, not given because of a name. But this weekend, his mother had set a trap. A woman from an old wealthy family, chosen for him. If he arrived alone again, they would announce his engagement to her without his permission. His family had done it before to his cousin. They would do it again. He needed a fake wife. Just for one weekend. Just to stop them. He stepped out into the rain and walked into the restaurant. That was when he saw her. Amara was clearing a table, her uniform soaked from running between the kitchen and the rain-soaked entrance. Her hands were shaking from exhaustion, but her back was straight. Proud. Even in that state, she did not look broken. Something about her stopped him. "Excuse me," he said. "I need your help. And I will pay you well." Amara looked at him with tired, guarded eyes. "I don't do favors for strange men," she said. "It's not that kind of favor," Kelvin said quickly. "I need someone to pretend to be my wife. For one weekend. At my family's house. That's all. $10,000. Amara almost laughed. $10,000 was rent for a year. food for a year. Freedom from her 3 jobs, even if just for a while. You're lying, she said. I'm desperate, he said. There's a difference. She studied his face. He did not look like a man playing games. He looked like a man who was tired in the same way she was tired of being disrespected by the people who should have protected him. One weekend, she said slowly. Then I disappear. You never contact me again. Deal, Kelvin said. Neither of them knew what that handshake would unlock. The Adeyemi family compound stood behind tall white gates, guarded, decorated, loud with generational wealth. Amara had never seen a house so big. Marble floors. Gold light fixtures. Portraits of stern-faced ancestors staring down from the walls. She felt small the moment she stepped inside. Kelvin's mother, Chief Mrs. Adeyemi, met them at the door with a smile that did not reach her eyes. So this is the woman, she said, looking Amara up and down like she was inspecting a stain. Where did you find her? The market? Mother, Kelvin warned. I'm only asking, she said sweetly. A mother has the right to ask about her son's choices. Amara said nothing. She had learned long ago that silence protected her better than words. Kelvin's sister, Tola, arrived next, dressed in designer clothes, dripping with jewelry, her laughter loud and mocking. Kelvin brought home a waitress, Tola whispered loudly to a cousin, not caring if Amara heard. I can smell the restaurant on her. Amara's cheeks burned, but she kept her chin up. I only wanted peace, she whispered to herself. I only wanted peace. That night at dinner, the humiliation continued. Chief Mrs. Adeyemi asked Amara questions designed to embarrass her, about her family, her education, her money. Every answer Amara gave was met with a soft, cruel laugh from Tola. Tell us, Tola said, swirling wine in her glass, what does your family do? Or should I say, what did your family do, before they had nothing? Amara's hands tightened under the table. She thought of her father. She thought of the company stolen from her. She thought of everything she had lost. My family, she said quietly, taught me that money does not make a person decent. Kindness does. The table went silent for a moment. Kelvin looked at her, surprised. Something in his chest shifted. This woman, paid to pretend, was defending herself with more dignity than his real family had ever shown him. Under the table, without thinking, he reached over and gently squeezed her hand. It was supposed to be an act. It did not feel like an act. Later that night, Kelvin found Amara sitting alone on the balcony outside the guest room, staring at the compound lights below. I'm sorry about my family, he said, standing beside her. You don't have to apologize for them, she said. I'm used to people like that. That shouldn't be something anyone gets used to. She looked at him, surprised by the gentleness in his voice. Why do you let them treat you like this? She asked. Like you're nothing? Kelvin was quiet for a long moment. Because proving myself to them was never as important as proving myself to myself. I built something on my own. Small. But mine. They don't know about it. And honestly, I stopped needing them to know. Amara nodded slowly. I understand that more than you think. They sat together in silence, and for the first time all night, it felt peaceful. Not performance. Not payment. Just two tired people, finally not alone. Thank you, Kelvin said, for defending yourself at dinner. You didn't have to. I wasn't defending myself, Amara said softly. I was defending my father's memory. Kelvin looked at her carefully, sensing there was more to her story than she was telling him. But he did not push. Whoever your father was, he said, he raised someone strong. For a moment, something warm passed between them. Something real, hiding inside something fake. Neither of them said it out loud. But both of them felt it. The weekend was supposed to end quietly. It did not. The next morning, Chief Mrs. Adeyemi announced a family brunch, and invited the woman she had originally chosen for Kelvin, a wealthy socialite named Zainab, along with her parents. "Just so everyone can meet properly," she said, smiling at Amara with false politeness. It was a trap, and everyone at the table knew it except Amara. Zainab arrived dripping in designer fashion, her family's private driver waiting outside. She looked at Amara the way one looks at something inconvenient blocking a doorway. "So you're the waitress," Zainab said, not bothering to lower her voice. "How brave of you to come here dressed like that." Tola laughed loudly. "She probably borrowed that dress." Amara's throat tightened, but she said nothing. "Enough," Kelvin said sharply. "Oh, defending her already?" his mother said. "How touching. Tell me, Kelvin, what exactly does she bring to this family? Status? Wealth? Connections? Or just company?" The room went cold. Amara stood up slowly. "I think I should go." "No," Kelvin said, standing with her. "You don't have to leave because they're cruel." "Kelvin," his mother snapped, "you are embarrassing this family." "No, mother," Kelvin said, his voice shaking with restrained anger. "You are embarrassing this family. Every single time you treat a guest in my house like this." The room fell silent. Amara looked at him, stunned. This was not part of the arrangement. This was not something he was paid to do. But before anyone could respond, a family assistant rushed in, whispering urgently into Chief Mrs. Adeyemi's ear. Her face changed instantly, from cruel confidence to pale nervousness. "The lawyers are here," the assistant said. "About the company inheritance case. They say it's urgent." Amara froze at the word inheritance. Something about it stirred a memory she had buried for 3 years. She did not know yet how close that memory was about to walk through the front door. 2 men in dark suits entered the dining hall, carrying leather folders. Amara recognized one of their faces immediately, Mr. Baligan, her late father's old lawyer. The same man who had told her, 3 years ago, that she had nothing left. Her heart pounded. Mr. Baligan's eyes landed on her, and his face went white with shock. "Amara," he said. "Amara Chukwu?" The room turned to look at her. "You know her?" Chief Mrs. Adeyemi asked, confused. Mr. Baligan straightened his suit, his voice suddenly formal and careful. "Madam, this young woman is the sole surviving heir of Chukwu Holdings. We have been searching for her for 3 years to finalize the inheritance case regarding the shares your family has been contesting." Silence swallowed the room. "Chukwu Holdings?" Tola whispered, her face draining of color. That's the company that owns 40% of our family's shipping contracts." Kelvin's mind spun. He remembered his own company's biggest silent business partner, an old, powerful trading company he had quietly built connections with over the past 2 years, one that had recently helped stabilize his logistics business during a difficult season. Chukwu Holdings. He looked at Amara with wide, disbelieving eyes. You own Chukwu Holdings?" he asked. Amara's hands trembled. "I didn't know if it was still mine. They told me I had nothing left." Mr. Baligan opened his folder. "The court ruled 2 days ago. The full company, and its assets, belong to you. We have been trying to reach you for weeks." Chief Mrs. Adeyemi's face twisted between panic and disbelief. Her family's shipping empire depended heavily on contracts tied to Chukwu Holdings. If Amara controlled it now, she controlled a piece of their entire fortune. "This is impossible," she said, her voice shaking. "She's a waitress." "She's the rightful heir," Mr. Baligan said firmly. "Confirmed by the courts." Kelvin stared at Amara, the woman he had paid to pretend to be his wife, the woman his family had humiliated all weekend, the woman who had defended her father's memory instead of herself. She was never beneath them. She had been above all of them the entire time. Word spread fast. By the time the family's largest annual business gala arrived 2 weeks later, everyone in their social circle knew the story. The true heir of Chukwu Holdings had been discovered, and she had once been mocked inside the Adeyemi household. The gala was held at the Adeyemi family's own hotel, the same hotel where, months earlier, staff had once looked down on outsiders who did not appear wealthy enough to belong. Amara arrived, not as a hired stranger this time, but as herself, dressed elegantly, walking with the quiet confidence of someone who finally understood her own worth. Kelvin walked beside her, this time not paying her to be there. Chief Mrs. Adeyemi approached them, forcing a smile so tight it looked painful. "Amara, dear, what a pleasant surprise," she said. "We had no idea." "You didn't ask," Amara said calmly. "You only judged." Tola appeared beside her mother, her earlier arrogance replaced with nervous politeness. "We're so glad you could join us tonight. Last time we spoke," Amara said, "you told me I probably borrowed my dress." Tola's face went red. Several guests nearby had heard, and quiet murmurs spread through the room. Then, the hotel manager approached, bowing respectfully to Amara. "Ma'am, welcome. As you know, Chukwal Holdings recently became a major investor in this hotel chain following the settlement. If you need anything at all tonight, please let us know." Chief Mrs. Adeyemi's mouth fell open. "You called him a gatekeeper," Amara said quietly, glancing at Kelvin, remembering something Tola had said mockingly about a hotel doorman weeks earlier during a story about Kelvin's early struggles. "Now you're standing inside a hotel partly owned by the people you mocked." The room fell into stunned silence. For the first time in her life, Amara was not the one being judged. She was the one being feared. Later that night, Amara stepped out onto the hotel balcony, overwhelmed by everything. Kelvin followed her. "I need to ask you something," she said, not turning around. "Did you know about the company before any of this happened?" "No," Kelvin said honestly. "I swear to you, I didn't know who you were. I only knew I needed someone to help me for one weekend." "So this whole time," Amara said, her voice tightening, "you were never really seeing me. Just using me." "That's not true," Kelvin said, stepping closer. "Somewhere between that restaurant and that dinner table, this stopped being an arrangement for me. I wasn't defending you because of a contract. I was defending you because watching them hurt you, hurt me." Amara turned to face him, her eyes glassy with unshed tears. "You lied to me." "I did," he admitted. "But not about how I feel." She looked away, torn between the pain of her past and the warmth she felt whenever he was near. "I've been betrayed before," she whispered. "By people who smiled at me and stole everything behind my back." "I'm not those people," Kelvin said gently. "I don't want anything from you. Not your money. Not your company. I only want to know if there's still a version of this, where you and I are real." Amara closed her eyes, letting his words settle over her. "I need time," she said finally. "Not because I don't feel something. But because I need to know it's real, and not just another performance." "Take all the time you need," Kelvin said. "I'll still be here." Weeks passed. Chief Mrs. Adeyemi, humbled by the shift in power and terrified of losing crucial business contracts, requested a private meeting with Amara. "I was wrong about you," she said stiffly, clearly uncomfortable with the words. "I judged you because of what you didn't have, instead of who you are." "You judged me because it made you feel powerful," Amara said calmly. "It didn't. It only showed me who you were." Chief Mrs. Adeyemi lowered her eyes. "I would like a chance to make it right. Not for the business. For my son. He has never looked at anyone the way he looks at you." For the first time, Amara saw a flicker of real humility in the older woman's eyes. "Actions matter more than apologies," Amara said. "Show me, don't tell me." Tola, too, eventually came to Amara privately, her arrogance replaced with quiet shame. "I was cruel to you," she admitted. "I think I was jealous of how strong you were, even when you had nothing." Amara studied her for a long moment. "Strength isn't about having everything. It's about staying kind when the world gives you every reason not to be." Tola nodded slowly, something shifting behind her eyes. Change did not happen overnight. But slowly, painfully, the family began to understand the difference between respect earned and status assumed. Months later, Amara stood in the newly renovated offices of Chukwu Holdings, now stronger than ever, with Kelvin's logistics company as one of its trusted partners, not because of family pressure, but because of mutual respect built from nothing. Kelvin walked in, holding 2 cups of coffee, the same tired but warm smile she had first seen through the rain outside that small restaurant. "You know," he said, handing her a cup, "I never did pay you that $10,000. Amara laughed, the sound surprising even herself. "I think I ended up with a little more than that." "I meant what I said that night on the balcony," Kelvin said, his voice softening. "None of this, the company, the fortune, none of it matters to me. I fell for the woman clearing tables in the rain. Everything after that was just the world catching up." Amara looked at him, and for the first time in years, she let herself fully believe someone's love was real. "I only wanted peace," she said softly. "I think I finally found it." He took her hand, and this time, there were no cameras, no contracts, no families watching. Just 2 people who had survived being underestimated, finally standing as equals. They once said she married poverty. They never knew poverty was hiding a queen. And in the end, the only thing she was ever truly hired to fool, was a family who never deserved the truth in the first place.